Hello, welcome, finally, I'm so glad to finally be saying this, to my first Julianne versus TBR, the quest for TBR Zero video. It has been months since I recorded all of my videos explaining what was happening, explaining my reasoning behind it, and I'm finally actually starting the project. I've had so many false starts. I think I've actually recorded some footage before without an intro because I thought I was starting and then I didn't start. And you know why I didn't start? Perfectionism. I got really caught up in the idea that I had to be completely prepared. I had to have read all my library books. I had to have read all of my NetGalley books. And I couldn't start on the project until I had done that. And the problem is more kept on coming. Because I would join book clubs, or someone I love following on the internet would release a novel, and of course I'd have to request it on NetGalley because I was just so excited about it. And things like that just kept getting in the way, so I just wasn't starting. And I almost started last week because I had read a bunch of library books. But then I remembered I had to read a book from NetGalley. And then I just thought today, you know what, I'm going to start. I'm going to declare it's the beginning. Even though I'm partway through a book from NetGalley. Even though I still have some audiobooks from NetGalley to listen to, as well as the one to read on my Nook. Even though I got 5 books out of my work libraries last week, although some of them are like academic books, so I'm just going to like flick through to find the relevant bits. Even though I'm going to start this project today. I decided to literally walking home on my commute home from work. I decided I'm going to start it. So here I am in front of my pile of towels which don't fit in the bathroom, and there should be a cupboard wardrobe thing here, but there isn't because I don't have space for it. And that's one of the many reasons that exemplifies why I'm doing this project. So I thought I would share what I'm currently partway through. So I started Witch King by Martha Wells last night for the Illumicrate read-along. And this is actually the book which came last month. And basically I decided I'm going to do all the read-alongs from now on. I did last month and I really enjoyed it. And I just felt really good that I was reading the book in the month that it came out. And I'm just done with acquiring books from Illumicrate and not reading them right away. And my friend Debbie had the genius idea for me to read all of the books which came out that month in previous years in the Illumicrate boxes. So I read one. I read, I think, one of the books that was in the 2019 June box. And I piled up all the others, and I was supposed to read them in June. But I did not. Because I remembered that NetGalley book and other stuff happened, and I did not. So I rolled them over into July, because in July something very special is happening. Can you guess what it is? I have 7 days of annual leave and literally no plans. So, although I hope some plans will materialise, I think that because I have 7 days off work, that gives me a higher than average chance of actually reading those books. Plus the July ones, and I don't think there are a lot of July ones either, because I don't think July was, back when Illumicrate was quarterly, I don't think July was one of the months where the books came out. I think it may have been May. May or August. Can't remember now. It's going to turn out it was July. No, I checked the other day and there's only like 3 books that I haven't read from July 2019. Or July 2019, but yeah, no, July 2019. No, I'm right. That's when Illumicrate went monthly. Of course it is, because otherwise there wouldn't have been a June 29 book either. So yeah. I think I can do it. So root for me. So yeah, with the read along, I did not get all the way through the pages that were in the read along for yesterday. I got to page 36, and I think I was supposed to get to like page 58. Yeah. So I need to catch up and get to that point and then read the pages for today. But I'm really, really enjoying this so far. It's so beautiful and powerful. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get this read, get up to that, and then I can get on with my current NetGalley book, which is A Perfect Vintage by Chelsea Fagan. Yeah, obviously I've watched the Financial Diets videos for years. So when she announced she was reading a book and that she was she'd written a book and that she was publishing it in like a profit sharing model, because I'm a nerd about money, in like a profit sharing model with like almost everybody who worked on the book except for her editor, who she like lured from a big 5 publishing company to edit her book like on the sly, and I'm just like obsessed with the whole thing, living the dream. So yeah, I just had to read it and I'm really enjoying it so far. So yeah, I can get back to that. And then yesterday I started one of the books I borrowed from the work libraries, which is it's a non-fiction book about connecting and creativity, which is, yeah, I got it on a whim. I saw it on like the kind of new book section, like the I guess it was a well-being section actually. So like a lot of the libraries at work have put like well-being sections like near the front where you come in to try to entice students to read books which might be good for them. And I spotted this and I was like, yes. It turns out it is an academic book, but it's such an interesting topic. And I've also got one on like communal living, which I couldn't resist getting because I just thought that it just sounds so interesting. But I decided to go for that one first because that's just what I felt like reading first, even though the communal living one is actually due back on the 19th. But yeah, we'll see. I have to do it. I have to read it, otherwise, because someone else has requested it, so I can't renew it. The others just automatically renew, it's fine. So yeah, that's where I'm at reading wise. I don't have oh no, I do have an audiobook on the go. I actually have 2. I have Rest is Resistance and the sci-fi short story collection, also from Audible. Both of those are on Audible because I'm trying to read everything in the Plus catalogue that I want to read from Audible so that I can cancel my Audible subscription. It's just a waste of money when I have so many books that I can get from the library. I only subscribe to Audible at Christmas to listen to the Christmas books on their catalogue. And honestly, like, otherwise I can just get stuff from the library. I don't have any reason to keep it until once again it's like Christmas and they've got stuff on the Plus catalogue I want to listen to, or there's like a really good special offer, but I'm not in the middle of a special offer. My special offer expired a couple of months ago, so I'm paying full price and I'm not about that life. So yeah, that's my current status of my reading. I need to change into more comfortable clothes because I'm currently still wearing the dress I wore to work, this lovely polka dot number which I kind of forgot about. And it's kind of it's lined and it's kind of polyester and it's not very comfortable to wear in very hot weather, but it's got a lot cooler here in the UK. So I have been able to wear it today and I thought I would because I enjoy it. It's got a very swooshy skirt. Let me show you. Oh no, you can see my laundry pile. Nobody wants that. Face the skirt. Whee! Yeah. So yeah, there we go. I'm gonna go put some more comfortable lounging clothes on, like pajamas basically, and get on with my reading. Okay, it's time to get ready for bed, and it's the 4th, the 4th of July, the next day, and yeah, I'm this far through Witch King. I've actually read, today, I read today's section and tomorrow's section, because I think I'm going to be too busy to read much of it tomorrow, but we'll see. I'm really enjoying it, so if I get a minute, I may pick it up anyway. Hello! Excuse my wild hair. I've put it down to disguise the sort of edge of my face because my sunscreen oxidizes on me really badly and I haven't put very much powder on over the top of it because the only thing I did, like, leaving the house today was to go out for an hour and garden. So yeah, my fake fringe is sort of splitting, but yeah. And I can't be bothered to make it better because I am only on this video to talk to you about reading updates. So it is Thursday the 13th of July. I think the last time I updated you I was still reading Witch King. which I have now finished. I actually finished it, I think I finished it last Friday because I knew I was going to have a busy weekend and I wanted to kind of be up to date with the read along and not finish it later. So I finished it early, obviously, and to be honest, I couldn't put it down. Like, I read so much of it that Friday evening because I could not put it down. I loved it so much. It was just fantastic. And I've read this month's Illumicrate book. What's happening? This is not my life history at all. So yeah, I read it. I enjoyed it. And I have yet to start another print fiction book. Actually, I finished on Monday. I wasn't feeling very well. I had a flare up of my chronic illness, and so I kind of spent the evening resting, really, and I finished what is it called? A Perfect Vintage by Chelsea Fagan, which is a sort of women's contemporary / romance book about a woman in her late 30s who goes to France to help a family develop their chateau into a hotel, and ends up falling for the youngest son, who I think is like 25. So it's sort of a older woman, younger man romance, and it was very fun. It was very escapist. And then after finishing that, I set out to get going on my NetGalley audiobooks whilst cleaning my house. I basically decided that a great way to motivate myself to do my cleaning would be to listen to audiobooks. And my house is the cleanest it's been in years, guys. I am not exaggerating. The cleanest it's been in years. So then I listened to OK Days by Jenny Mustard, another YouTuber book, which is a sort of, I guess, kind of slow burn, admitting their true feelings, 20-somethings on-off relationship story. It was really interesting. I hadn't read anything quite like this before. There have been some comparisons that is sort of Sally Rooney-esque, which I guess, but it's definitely more romancy than Sally Rooney is. It's not as literary. I think it's definitely on the romance side. But yeah, I enjoyed that. And now I am listening to, let me get the title right. This is also from NetGalley. I have not tried the NetGalley audiobook player before, and actually it was fine. I was really nervous that it was not going to be as good as like Audible or Libby. But yeah, it's good. It's good. It doesn't let you go like super fast, but that's fine because I can't go above 0.2. I can't go above 2 times. Really, anyway. I have a little bit on occasion when I'm really rushing to finish something, but realistically, no, that's too much for me. I've Had to Think of a Way to Survive on Trauma, Persistence and Dolly Parton by Lynn Melnick, and I kind of listened to this because I thought it's a good way to get myself to listen to some Dolly Parton, because I've only listened to bits and pieces of Dolly Parton's discography, and I thought that reading a memoir would be a really great way to explore an artist's music, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's quite hard-hitting memoir because the author has sexual trauma in her past, but it's a really nice way to kind of explore the discography of an artist that I've not explored much before. And so yeah, I know it's part of a sort of American music series, so I'm really interested to find out what other books there are in that series, what other artists have been covered, and I'd be really interested in any recommendations of memoirs about someone's personal relationship with music they listen to, or with art they like, or like literally anything else. I just love these kinds of stories. So yeah, on my other phone, because I don't have the NetGalley app on that one, I realised too late. My other phone is like an old phone that I just use to listen to audiobooks, like when I go out for walks or I'm gardening, so I don't get distracted by my real phone. And so on that, I opened up Audible, and currently in the Plus catalogue, you can listen to Different Not Less by Chloe Hayden, which is subtitled A Neurodivergent's Guide to Embracing Your True Self and Finding Your Happily Ever After, which is a book which would be incredibly useful to me as a teenager. But hey, I'm listening to it now. It's only going to take me about 4 hours in total to listen to, because it's 7 hours long, 7 hours 2 minutes long. at normal speed, but I listen to it at 1.75. So yeah, I thought that'd be a good one to start while I'm gardening, because I can probably finish it tomorrow while doing some more gardening. And yeah, in print books, I print non-fiction. I also started reading Making is Connecting by David Gauntlett, which is a kind of, I guess, academic. It's really, really readable book about any kind of creation, the process of creation and connecting other people. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. I picked it up on a total whim from one of the libraries at work. I just saw it there and I was like, oh, that is a title that appeals to me for two reasons. It has the word making in it and it has the word connecting in it. So I picked it up and I thought I'd give it a go, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I've already added loads of books to my library wish list because of this. So it's not helping me get the TBR down, but I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment. This is sort of my dip in and out of it in a few minutes book, because I found like non-fiction is really good for that. So I don't have plans to like finish that anytime soon. I would like to not take too long with it though, because it is really good. So yeah, I plan to start the next Illumicrate book soon as well, maybe this evening if I have time, but we're going to eat dinner now and watch the Nimona film, so maybe not. Hopefully I will be in touch with you again in the next couple of days to update you. Hello, it's another week. It's Monday the 17th of July, and I have some good news and some bad news. So number one is that I did finish reading Living Together. I started it on Saturday, read quite a big chunk, read like little bits kind of around doing other things yesterday, and then I finished it at lunchtime today at work and managed to deliver it back to the library after work. So there we go. I am good. I did find out today that there's no fines, and if you have a book out that someone else has requested, you just can't borrow any more books until you give it back. But I I persevered anyway. I spent my lunchtime reading it and I really enjoyed it. It's a fabulous book. Yeah, so yeah, it's Living Together. The subtitle is Searching for Community in a Fractured World by Mim Skinner. And it's all about co-living projects in the UK that are currently existing. So it doesn't talk very much about kind of like old hippie communes that no longer exist and all of that kind of stuff. It does kind of go into a little bit of a detail on the history of communal living, but not very much, because the author's whole point is to visit existing communes. She does visit, I think she visits a couple abroad as well in the whole process. Oh, the sun's changing, but I'm going to keep talking. Yeah, she does visit a couple in Europe, I think, as part of the whole process, and some of them are sort of international organisations, which is really interesting. But it's modern, it's current, it's contemporary communal living communities. Oh god, this lighting is disaster. I hope I can sort it out. But I'm going to carry on because this is real life, and I'm opposite the window. The whole reason I'm opposite the window is so this doesn't happen. When I'm sort of adjacent to the window. But anyway, the whole reason I'm here is for good lighting. That's why I'm doing it, because the sun's here at the end of the day. Why? Yeah, and you've also got me kind of in the mirror as well, which I realise may be a bit distracting, especially as I'm holding my phone to look things up as I'm talking to you. Anyway, so yeah, she's sort of doing this as research to her own kind of communal living practice, her own kind of setup, but she's also has lived communally in the past. I think she's only not lived communally for 3 years, because she spent most of her 20s living in what sounds like my version of hell, where she like lived in a bunk. Her only like it was like a really intense like co-living house, which she said was great and like full of activists, and they did a lot of good, but ultimately like the lack of personal space got too much. Yeah, she lived in a basically she had like a bunk bed in a house, and they had like a communal wardrobe, and like everything was really shared, and they were like a kind of like religious community, but also like activists, and she set up like a food waste organisation with her friend, who she shared a room with, and like it sounds like she did amazing stuff, but yeah, like only have a bunk bed, no. Anyway, she had enough of only having a bunk bed, and she like married, and she moved in with her husband, and yeah, she missed it. So she wanted to create it in a kind of more tailored to the life that she was going to have now, as an older adult and as a expectant mother. So she's pregnant during the writing of the book as well, and so she's kind of figuring out like how she wants to kind of have her family but also be part of something larger at the same time. So it's really, really fascinating. It covers so many bases. It covers hippie communes that have been around for a long time. It covers the religious communities. It covers it's like a hacker house. There's also like commercial co-living projects as well, which I have I was aware of, I think, both of the ones that she features, because I had seen their ads in London. I was intrigued by the concept, although they're way out of my price range. And one of them, you also have really, really tiny living spaces as well, so you're paying a lot for not very much kind of private space. There's a lot of really kind of interesting sounding communal space, but not very much. Yeah. So yeah, it was really, really interesting. It made me think about what aspects of my living situation I wish I could communalize. And I was thinking, number one, cooking. I really wish there was a communal way to do cooking, so that on nights where I'm too busy to cook, I don't have to go to a restaurant. I don't have to get a ready meal. I can get something healthy that has been cooked and is leftover from that day's meal without me having to have hardcore plan beforehand and batch cooked, because I find that's the biggest barrier. If you can hardcore plan and batch cook, then brilliant. But if something comes up unexpectedly, you still want a healthy meal, it's very difficult to get it. And I enjoy cooking for other people and don't get a lot of I mainly just cook for me and my partner. I very rarely cook anything for anybody else, and yeah, I think I would love to try that, but on an ongoing basis, so I can get lots of feedback. And yeah, cooking with other people as well. The second thing is gardening. So when I got into gardening, I started envisaging my ideal kind of communal living setup, and it would basically be houses around a massive garden, they all back onto the massive garden, and in the middle there's a hall, and so the way I think of this is it would be nice to have a bigger garden. It would be nice for the gardening responsibilities to not solely fall on me, but at the same time I would want to have input into it and be able to do practical gardening rather than kind of outsource it all to somebody else. So a community garden doesn't work for this, and a park doesn't work for this, because I still want to be just able to open my back door and walk out into my garden. In my fantasy life where I have a beautiful garden I make use of it on a regular basis, I'm always popping out to have a cup of tea there in the morning. I can have people over to socialise in the garden. I can lie out there and read, and it's convenient because it's attached to my house, which a park or a community garden does not give you. So yeah, I like the idea of backing onto a massive communal garden, because I can have both worlds, right? I can have the big garden, and there can be different sections of the garden for different things, but I can also just pop out there for a couple of minutes without the commitment of having to plan to walk to the nearest park, which is going to take half an hour at the very least. So yeah, that's one thing. And the other thing, I mentioned a hall, right? And that is social space, but basically I'm thinking living room, right? Because a very big problem in the UK in housing wise is if you want bigger living space, a living room where you can have people over to socialise and you can host, you have to get more bedrooms, right? And it's I don't actually need more bedrooms. I don't want to have to, I mean, I can't afford one anyway, so this is I say, I don't want to have to buy a 6-bedroom house in order to have the size of living room space that I want. That I cannot buy a 6-bedroom house, so it's a moot point. But I would like very much to just be able to have the number of bedrooms I have now, but also be able to access a massive living room type space. And it's yes, you could rent a hall, yes, you could rent a venue, but you have to pay for that. And you have to pay for that like every single time. Like if there was a way of like a subscription access to a hall where either in this fantasy communal living situation or just like in life, I could yeah, like a church hall or something, like a town hall, whatever, where I could subscribe, and then like say I subscribe, I pay a monthly fee, and I get like a morning, an afternoon, evening to use the space like once a month or whatever. I imagine in the communal house backing onto the garden fantasy that we'd probably get it more often that. But you could like trade your, you know, say you wanted just like 2 evenings, you could trade like one of your other slots, or you could trade them with people so you get an entire day. Yeah, like you could, you know, and that's kind of like when I want to have like a lot of friends to do something, or I want to just try something out without the commitment of being like, this is a thing, you know, like if I wanted to like, I don't know, host a music making session or a writing session or something that, or have a party, but without the high stakes-ness of having to pay a higher fee, you know, like having to fork out a couple of £100 for an event that I don't know is going to work. You know, I feel like in the modern world that you get a lot of dropouts of things, and if you, unless you like invite like way more people than the place can, you know, hold, it just, yeah, it just works out like not making a lot of sense either financially or like in terms of the level of commitment. Whereas if I had like if I could just access a hall, like, you know, if I was paying like, I don't know, like £50, like a co-hall arrangement, and I got it for like 3 slots a month, like that would be amazing, you know, like I could make use of those slots. I could just like invite people and like, come to my hall and we'll do this at this time of day. Yeah, like I feel like it would be so much easier to build community and develop friendships if there's just this access to larger free space, because at the moment it's like, well, you can come to my house, but it's not very comfortable for like more than 4 people. You know, like I had a housewarming and it was fine, but it was a bit tight, you know. And so yeah, I often, you know, my ideal house would have a very large amount of that kind of like space that I could host in. But I think ideally it would not be in my house because I don't need it all the time. It's a waste to have it when I don't need it all the time. It's just me and my partner. We do not need that side of space all the time. So yeah, having that kind of living space. And I say living space, it's not event space necessarily. It could just be that you just want to like you just want to watch TV in it, or you just want to work in it, or whatever. You need a larger space to kind of spread out stuff. Maybe you want to make art in it. Just like a larger space that you can access, but like not all the time, like a studio, and not for like a big deal thing, if that makes sense, where you need to have lots of people there to make it like worth your while spending the money. So yeah, I've talked about that book for ages, but it was really fantastic. I really recommend you check it out. Yeah, it was sort of, I think what made it really, really, really lovely was the kind of the personal connection. Like it was an exploration of all these things and learning about all these things as research for an actual project. And she was all, you know, she was very open-minded about the places she went to visit. She didn't, she shared her criticisms of the places, but she was still very like excited, you know, even when she had some concerns, you know, some reservations in advance, she was still very excited to go to the places and meet the people and see how they're doing it. And that was fabulous. So yeah, I finished that today. Over the weekend, I also listened to, you know, a few bits of my audiobooks that I'm currently listening to, as mentioned earlier, but I didn't finish anything else. And then on the way home from work, because I had finished Living Together, I started reading the book I bought on Saturday. So on Saturday, I suddenly realised, I think I suddenly realised on Friday actually, that I was out of one of my like supplements I take as medication. It's a dietary supplement, but it's I need it for like medical reasons. I have to take it or my body stops working. Like very fast, like I have to take it every day. So I went to buy some more, and of course while I was there I went in the charity shops to look for picture frames, because I'm trying to get frames to put up art around my house without having to buy new ones, you know, doing a bit for the planet, very virtuous. And you know, the problem with this particular Oxfam is that the books are on the same floor as the picture frames, so it's impossible to avoid the books. You know, I can't be in the same room as a lot of books that I might like to read and not check them out. And I bought one and it was a total whim. I've never heard of this before, but I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna get it because I'm intrigued. And it's called The Chairs Where the People Go, by Misha, Glouberman with Sheila Heti. Sheila Heti is like quite a well-known author of fiction and non-fiction, and yeah, I was intrigued. It's subtitled How to Live, Work and Play in the City, which is, yeah, it felt very connected to living together, which obviously I think I just started at that point, and so I felt, you know what, I want to get this, and I had it like downstairs in my new stuff enters the house kind of area, and as I was getting ready to go to work this morning, I thought, you know what, if I finish living together at lunchtime, I'm not going to have anything to read on the way home, but I'll be in a reading mood from having read at lunchtime, and so I'll grab this, I'll try and read it now, and so I did. I read quite a lot actually on the way home. I'm quite impressed with myself. I read 40 pages. Yeah, and it's a short book. It's only 174 pages long, excluding the acknowledgements, because it's a tiny paragraph. But I think it's going to be really quick because it's all like just short little mini essays. And yeah, basically Sheila Heti wanted her next book to be a compilation of everything Misha knew. So she basically got him to talk about different things while she typed it up. And it's kind of, yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I didn't know what to expect. I just was intrigued by the subtitle, and I think it's really great. I'm enjoying it. So I'm, yeah, looking forward to reading the rest. I have, like, how many non-fiction books I have on the go at the moment? It doesn't even bear thinking about. We're now up to like 4 or 5 non-fiction books that I have on the go at this one time. So yeah, I don't know exactly when I finish it because it's not going to be my house book. I'm going to put it back downstairs, and then it could be my bag book until I've actually finished some of the other non-fiction books. You know, around the house I'm going to keep with the non-fiction. Of course I need to crack on with the fiction. I cannot crack on with the print fiction today because I have some graphic novels that are due back at the library which I need to read today. So yeah, that's my plan for the evening. I am now going to put my comfortable pyjamas on because I'm still wearing my clothes on work. I am going to make a spaghetti bolognese for myself and future me because I'm, you know, going to make the normal amount of recipe and there's going to be a portion left over. Yeah, then I'm going to enjoy my dinner and enjoy the graphic novels and hopefully get a couple read. Yeah, they usually take me like, they're the Babysitters Club graphic novels, which are quite long. I think they usually take like about an hour, so I think I've got 2 to read. I think I might, you know, if I'm lucky and I'm very good and very dedicated and don't get distracted, which I'm not in the mood for looking at my phone particularly, but there's a couple of things I need to post about, because we went to South London Comic and Zine Fair yesterday, and so I need to do some shout outs about how great that was, because it was really amazing. Yeah, but yeah, then after that, maybe if I have time, after the graphic novels, I might start Birthday. We'll see. If not, maybe tomorrow. Okay. Hello, welcome to, let's say a compromise video. So first of all, I'm filming this on my phone because I put my camera on the tripod, got ready and discovered it was low on battery. That's my fault, poor planning, but I do not have time to wait for it to charge. I've got things to do. So here I am doing this on my phone. The plus side of that is that my phone sits higher on the tripod, so I don't have to crouch slightly like I have to do when I use my camera. So that's good. The bad news is that it is the 31st of July. Why is it the 31st of July when the last time I vlogged was much earlier to the start of the month, shall we say? Well, that is because I had COVID. And I do not look good. I don't think I look particularly good right now. I really did not look good. I did not want to vlog. I could not really talk because I kept coughing all the time. So here we are. Here we are. I have read a lot of books though. So I've got some happy updates. It was a good thing I wasn't in the middle of a massive hardback when I got COVID, because yeah, there was a lot of snot and it would not have gone down well. I immediately had to put on pause my plan to tackle Illumicrate hardbacks, and I started the COVID convalescence reading process by finishing off the Ali Carter Gallagher Academy series, which is something I've been meaning to get around to for ages, so actually fair play to me. Now that I have read the last 3 books in the series, I can give away the entire series. That is actually 6 books I can give away. More than that, because I, for some reason, have multiple copies of some of the books in the series, because I pick them up at different times in different places. Like, I think most of those 3, 2 out of the 3 I showed you there, I picked out from outside a neighbour's house, with all the books back to like number 2, but not number 1 for some reason. So I am going to use number 1 that I had previously and give that away as a complete set, and then give the others away as partial bits of sets. I don't know. But yeah, that's happening. The sun is very much in my eyes, so let's switch to looking at the books laid out on the bed, shall we? So over here on the left, I have those 3 Ali Carter books. Then I have the rest of the books that I've been reading during my COVID convalescence. So once I was no longer snotting everywhere, I read Birthday, which has this lovely sprayed edge, so I didn't want to, mess it up. I really, really enjoyed this. I think I'm going to keep this one. It was great. It's basically a love story between 2 best friends, one of whom is trans, over their birthdays from, I think, basically all their teen birthdays, yeah. It's just really, really interesting the way that it's written and the way that the story develops. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep that one. Then I have 3 Illumicrate hardbacks. So the first one, We All Fall Down. People have criticised this more eloquently than I can, so I'm not really going to go into it. But I just kind of thought that this the story was kind of all over the place. The author was trying to do lots of things which they didn't achieve, in my opinion. And yeah, I am intrigued to see if the second book's going to come out and if the second book goes down well. But yeah, I did go back and I read what people said on the Illumicrate read along at the time. And yeah, there were a lot of like really interesting thoughts about it, but yeah, this one was not to my taste, and I can see why it was so heavily criticised. Next up, it's Sanctuary by V.V. James. This was really gripping. I could not put it down. I spent far too much time at the weekend reading this, but I enjoyed it a lot. It is a very gripping kind of magical crime novel. Because it's a crime novel, the focus is kind of on the mystery, and so I don't feel the need to hang on to it. So I probably will move this along and give it to somebody else to read. But yeah, I did really, really enjoy it, and I very much enjoy these green sprayed edges. And then finally, just yesterday, I finished reading The Drowned Woods, which is a kind of magical heist novel, kind of set in like a fantasy version of Wales, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I think I am going to hang on to this one for the time being. So yeah, a mix of books that I'm going to be hanging on to and moving along. So at the moment, I am reading 7 Devils. I've only actually just started this. I'm only a few pages in, if you can see that. Yeah, there we go. So not very far into that one, but I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. I don't have the sequel on hand, and I will probably like buy and read the sequel like or borrow the sequel from the library, depending on whether I like want to keep it forever on my shelves. Like pretty soon after reading this, because then I will have completed the series. I always feel like if I haven't completed the series, I'm going to hang on to the first book until I complete the series, and that's something I want to stop doing, unless it's going to be a while before the next book is out. I want to actually like complete the series quickly if all the books are out, and move it along. So yeah, that's my plan for that one. And then up here, helpfully upside down, is Sun in the Void, which is the most recent Illumicrate book. So I'm reading this with the read along, and I have a bookmark in here, and another bookmark to mark where I have to read up to today. So the first bookmark's where I'm currently at. The second bookmark is like the end of today's kind of allotment of pages. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how July has gone, all things considered, COVID considering. I've probably read more books than I would have otherwise, actually. And the fact that I've read most of the Illumicrate books I wanted to this month makes me feel really good. Alright, apologies for the double me. I did film this bit closer, and it cut off like half of my head in part of my glasses, and I thought that was not a good look. So that was my July reading. It's my final July vlog. The one Illumicrate June book that I didn't get to finish this month, that I carried over from kind of last month when I first started the project of reading all my Illumicrate books, is The Court of Miracles, which is a kind of Les Miserables retelling, and I decided I want to read Les Miserables before I can read that, and that's going to be a project because that book is long. Oh my god, it's like 17 hours or something on Audible, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, if that is my only audiobook for a few weeks, I think I can do it, and then I'll read The Court of Miracles, but I'm not going to read it now. So I'm going to consider when I've read Seven Devils, June, July, done with. And I'm going to move on to like August previous Illumicrate books, which I will talk more about in my kind of August preparation vlog video. But I am really happy with what I managed to achieve in July, in the first month of this challenge, of this whole project to read all of my TBR. I think that if I hadn't got COVID, I probably might have read less. So it worked out good for the project, and not good for me overall. Yeah, I think I've realised I can just make myself read the books I've picked out if I have to, if I am really determined, if I've set myself a target and I'm determined to complete it, but also if I have some choice. So the good thing about having the stack of Illumicrate books is that I could pick which one I wanted to read. I did more or less read them in order, like chronologically of when they came out, but there was still choice in there, so I could still kind of follow my mood and feel like, okay, I feel like starting that one, I'm going to do that. But yeah, overall, I think it worked out really well, and I'm excited. I feel really hyped up for this project now, and I'm hoping it will work out really well. August is going to be a bit challenging because it's going to have more Illumicrate books, but I will be sort of starting with that month, if that makes sense, because although I haven't finished Seven Devils yet, I should finish it in the next couple of days, and then I'll be straight in with the August books, whereas in July I had to finish off the June books before I could start on the August books. So yeah, that's kind of that's where we're at. I'm excited. I think it's gone really well. If you are enjoying this journey, if you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And let me know if you do reading vlogs, if you're doing TBR Zero, because I want more people to subscribe to in the reading world. I don't follow enough booktubers and book people who talk about books amongst other things. Whatever it is that you do, do let me know if you are if you're doing something in that vein, because I would love to follow you. Oh, these glasses always fall down my nose. I didn't quite fit right. That's what you get when you do mail order glasses. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. You'll see me again soon.